What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol VIH for VPC Impact Acquisition Holdings. That name is a mouthful. Regardless, on the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. This, of course, will be more of an update. We covered this ticker yesterday, and I want to clear the air just slightly about some things that were said there. By no means was I saying I'm ignoring the short float or ignoring the potential for a short squeeze, but for me, it's just not something I factor into the initial analysis, right? For me, it's all about breaking technical areas, structural elements that have been put in historically to get involved in the trade. And then if a short squeeze does happen, it's kind of just the icing on the cake for me, right? But it's not the sole reason where I personally get involved in a trade. So if that's your strategy, that's fine. You can continue to do what you're doing. But for me, that's why the videos are the way they are. And we talk about levels. And I think that that is slightly more important, right? So moving forward, what are we going to do about today's obvious development, which was clearly this large move to the upside, right? It was massively volatile. I'm not sure how you would have pulled that trade off, but there are some things that we can watch going forward here. So the first one would be the fact that we pierced this technical area here at $11.24, and we're not able to close the candle up above it. Now, it's not the end of the world, as we'll see in just a minute on the 30-minute perspective, but the chart would have looked a little bit better if we got a stronger candle close above prior structure here at $11.24. So we're going to assume that the good volume down below, green bodied candle, we're going to assume that there might be some upside continuation. In that case, what is the potential area where we could see the next area of resistance developing? Well, if we look back at this prior structure, I would argue that prior support should start to act as resistance up there at about $12.15. And then it's kind of back up to the top end of that balance up there towards $15.79. Now, before you get too excited and say, wow, you're so bullish on this stock, let me just say that this is from a structural perspective, right? I'm not saying that the chart has to get here all in one day, all in 2 days, 3 days, even a week, right? I'm just saying from a technical perspective, I wouldn't be surprised if sellers step back in around 15.79, just round it up, call it 16 even. I wouldn't be surprised to see that, right? So moving over to the 30-minute intraday time frame chart now, just to talk about some of this price action and dissect it a little bit more. Just first of all, let me just again identify the volatility here. So on the opening drive, sure, it did go higher. And if you bought that and you chased it, you were punished, right? Because ultimately it did come back down into our 1025 level from yesterday's video. But from here, there was a reasonable trade to have as we broke back up and over 1061 here. Fine, on the pullback, great. There was your trade. There was your entry here, the hold of 1061, the prior balance highs from in here. Fine, you could have taken that trade, would have been reasonable. And the close here was actually relatively strong. If we take out the Fibonacci's and analyze this move from the low all the way on up to the high, you can see that we never violated the 38.2 into the end of the day here, right? So that to me does strike me as bullish. Of course, we want to know where that 38.2 is for any further consolidation. So I will map that out with a regular price level. Then we'll clean up the chart, get rid of those fibs. And I would say the most bullish thing that could happen here would be consolidation, maybe some digestion here, and then boom, you get the break. You're probably looking for the move back up and out of 1124, remembering that that was prior daily structure in here. And then the next hurdle, of course, would be today's high of day at 1157. But if we can clear it, looking at those daily structural elements, it's 12.15, and then monitoring for continuation if we do break up into this range. Okay, so that's the bullish case here. Obviously, if it's opens on some sort of gap come Tuesday morning, then that's not going to really be the case anymore. But if we open inside of the range, which as of right now in the post market, you can see 11.18, we will be opening towards these highs somewhere up around here. So we'll see if that does hold true. But that would be the trade that I would potentially take, and I would not chase the gap higher if we do gap higher on Tuesday morning, remembering Monday's a holiday there. So all things considered, those are my thoughts. If it does take out this 1094, it's not the end of the world, but you would want to see 1061 act as the next strong support. Just taking a look at the daily perspective, what that might look like would of course be a breakdown here. But then if we start printing hammer candles here, any sort of indecision dojis, then basically you're asking yourself, is this pullback coming to an end? Can we flip long over the highs and then get back up into into some of the structure which we talked about from the earlier part of today's video. Now, if that one gives, then probably wave the white flag a little bit here. I would just not want to be involved as this comes back down underneath 1061, because there is potential that it moves down into the floor at 985 as potentially interest dries up, right? That's the reason why I could see 1061 breaking. As people sort of lose interest, maybe the short squeeze quote unquote is over and you see volume start drying up, that's where it's kind of time to run for the exits, because I do think it would come back down into this area and just chop around, not really be worth your time trading. So if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the clarification, let me know down below in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.